does the EFF remain committed to that pledge which you signed for a peaceful election?
There hasn't been pledges signed yet as the first disinformation, because there's not even an election date yet. So those things are still going to happen.
But previous pledges?
It's previous elections. I think she's talking about 2019 elections. That's not the point. So let's stick to the real question that SANEF approached the Equality Court for. They claim that the EFF is attacking journalists and threatening them and intimidating them. And they have prayed to the court that the leader of the EFF must be intimidated, made to apologize for his attacks. And they don't say what those attacks are. But what we've been doing is being very critical of some journalists, their bias. And we believe that there is a lot of embedded journalism which is facilitated in the interest of the status quo, in particular Pravin Gordhan. We believe that there is a lot of embedded journalism linked to the people who seek the destruction of the EFF, because the EFF attacks and exposes white monopoly capital and its role in relation to recovering through Cyril Ramaphosa after the Zuma years.
Dr. Ndlozi, I'm just actually going to talk about the lived experiences of some of the journalists who were named by your president outside the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and what has happened to them subsequent to that. Attached to the court papers of SANEF to the Equality Court is an affidavit, a sworn affidavit by Ranjeni Munsami, who says that mere days after that speech by Julius Malema, she was confronted by 3 men in a Johannesburg mall who essentially hurled insults at her. Surely that has got to raise concern in as far as incitement is concerned. Do you have, as a party, regrets about naming individual journalists in public platforms?
No, not at all. I mean, I would hope that, she goes to an actual police station so that video footage of a mall can be produced and we hear the insults that were held against her. The EFF was very clear through its president outside Diso Black Star. The president of the EFF specifically said our battle with these embedded journalists is ideological. It's an intellectual exercise, even called on fighters and supporters of the EFF on the same day. A video that we have repeated over and over again on our own platforms. We have said that, some of these people are women journalists. You must deal with them intellectually. So if they are
intellectually?
Absolutely, superior logic, all those things were said outside the court at Diso Black Star, and I would wish that maybe you would have played it as well. So the point I'm making is you can't go to an equality court to ask that people must not attack you in a mall and say that Julius Malema must be made to apologize for people you met in a mall. You can't do that. So what is this court action about? At the core, this court action is about shutting us down. And you, Xoli, as the media, are not above criticism. Not after Stratcom, not after the role of the media in the Iraq. There is ample evidence of the ways in which there's disinformation, you people being fed illegal information. You use it in your media, you use it to fight political battles on behalf of political actors. But forget journalists, the people who are actually doing stories. Ranjeni, Feriel Hafaji, Peter Bruce have standing columns. And in those standing columns, in most of the cases, they are campaigners. They campaign in the interest of the Pravin agenda. They campaign in the interest of the Cyril Ramaphosa agenda. If we expose that, it's not an intimidation.
There is a particular meaning attached to the word embedded, and then you also use in the same sentence Stratcom. We all know what Stratcom was about in this country back in the apartheid years. Is there anything wrong with journalists writing opinion pieces? Because these are opinion pieces. How does it come about that you define them as, or you define their opinion in those opinion pieces as embedded journalism?
No, that's not what I did. At what point? No, that's not what I did. I'm saying to you, that's why that's why the opinion pages are not in news. It's because they are not news. They are opinions. Meaning you are making an opinion, and if your opinion is to campaign that white people must vote the ANC or the DA must vote with the ANC, you're giving a political advice. And if I'm responding to that, that your opinion basically is to campaign for the African National Congress on an opinion piece tomorrow, and you want me to trust you that your journalistic efforts are above board. So that's why they are on opinion pages, those things, is because they are not news. So once you descend to the arena, you begin to campaign for certain politicians, you begin to campaign for specific agendas. We have the right to come for you, to disagree with you, to expose you as a person that is standing against our ideological objectives. You're not doing an unbiased, independent, above-board journalistic article. That's not what you're doing.
Is there anything intellectual about your supporters going on social media pages where they name certain journalists? For example, Karima Brown was named as #1 target for people, for supporters of the EFF to essentially be targeted, and she has gone as far as to the police station to lay a
We're going to target them. We're targeting those individuals.
Which individuals?
All of them, Karima Brown, Ranjini Musa, they are our targets. We're going to guard them because they've got an ideological agenda against the EFF. We're going to guard them. The target is about guarding them to make sure that we expose and respond to them at all times. That's what Twitter streets are about. If you don't want to be on Twitter, quit. Go to your room and stay there. Don't engage. If you take an opinion, if you have taken a decision that you're going to campaign for a specific agenda, those that you campaign against have a right of response. So they are our target. There's nothing wrong with that.
Are there efforts behind the scenes that you may be aware of to try and resolve this matter amicably with SANEF? The understanding is that SANEF would still want to sit around the table, and they've been left with no choice but to go to the equality.
SANEF has gone to court that we must be shut down. Those are not people who are... You don't go to court to ask for a meeting.
They've gone to court on the basis...
But you don't go to court to ask people
on the basis
to
of
say to court, force the people... You go to court, you say court must force the people you disagree with to sit down with you. Who does that? It's abuse of court. It's actually a ridiculously foolish idea, by the way. And it's a helpless effort of self-seeking and attention-seeking people. We'll meet them after elections. We told them we'll meet them, but we'll meet them after elections. And by the way, this is a group of bosses. These are editors. These are bosses. These are people who decide on the narrative, the shape, the size, the time of stories. These are not actual people which we interact with on the ground. Have you asked yourself a question why we didn't name Pauli van Wyk?
The issue here, Mr. Ndlozi, is that you have young journalists. I'm glad you mentioned that the SANEF representatives are editors. You're quite right. The issue here is about young journalists who are now fearful of going to EFF briefings and writing critical...
Give me an example. Give me an example of a young journalist who's afraid. Are you young? Are you young?
I'm a young journalist.
Are you afraid? Because you can't give me a person who is.
I can tell you what my reservations are.
Karima Brown is scared of criticism, and I'm happy that she is. If she's scared, that's okay.